my longtime viewers and subscribers, stay tuned through the end of the video. We surpassed another milestone here on the channel last night, over 70,000 subscribers. In keeping with tradition here on the channel, I want to thank you guys for your continued support, and maybe we'll share a personal story at the end of the video. But alright, first things first. Let's get to the WNBA dump and their supposedly wonderful marriage to the worldwide leader in woke, ESPN. I put very little stock in people's word. I trust almost nothing that I see people saying on social media. Social media is an illusion. It's not real. I'm sure you guys have come across the happy social media couple before. The wife constantly posting pictures about how great their life is. Look at my baby. Doesn't he look sexy standing in front of that rented Mercedes? The husband posting pictures of their smiling children. Wife is constantly checking Facebook to see how many likes and comments they're receiving. If you base your opinion on the illusion that they're presenting publicly, this is the all-American family, one big happy family. But behind closed doors, their life is an absolute nightmare. The husband's addicted to grinder porn. He's spanking the wanker, watching beefed up Brad having his insides rearranged by Chad Thundercock. The depressed wife, she's lonely. She's dealing with her depression through shopping. The family's drowning in debt. $500,000 house that they're living in facing foreclosure. The relationship, the marriage, is an unmitigated disaster. It's a divorce lawyer's dream. But the couple puts on the magical illusion in public that life is all good. They say all the right things, but there's never any meaning. There's never any substance behind those words. This is exactly how the marriage is between ESPN and the WNBA. If you believe the bullshit you see on ESPN social media, you would think the WNBA dump is their top priority. We are proud to be the exclusive home of the WNBA. Tune into ESPN to see all of your favorite dump divers in action. Bob the Bone Griner, Natasha the Dark Cloud, Kelsey Two Plums. ESPN's constantly bragging about their dedication to the WNBA. They present these amateur basketball players as professional athletes. ESPN likes to pretend that Bob Griner dunking a trash can into the back of a garbage truck is an elite athletic performance. Every year, ESPN, along with the rest of the mainstream media, they search for the one metric where the WNBA is actually showing growth, and they pretend that means the dump is thriving. Last year, their focus was on television ratings. The WNBA is thriving! Ratings are up 15%! Yeah, ratings went from nothing to almost nothing. ESPN failed to mention attendance last season because it was one of the worst seasons in the history of the dump. This year, ESPN's focusing on the growth in attendance instead of television ratings. I wonder why. ESPN presents the illusion to the public that they really care about pretend basketball. But like I said, I don't trust your words. I want to see your actions. ESPN also promotes the NBA on social media. Those words actually carry weight. Between ESPN and ABC, there's 6 NBA games broadcast every week. When it's time for the NBA draft, ESPN broadcasts it in prime time. Even something insignificant like the Pro Bowl in the NFL, ESPN puts it in a good time slot like Sunday afternoon. Why do you think they do this? They want to capitalize on the ratings. If ESPN put the NBA draft on at 3 o'clock on a Tuesday afternoon, ratings will be in the pooper. ESPN actually cares about the NBA, so they place the draft in prime time. But what about the WNBA? What about the bearded beauties that ESPN is supposedly in love with? What about the dump divas that ESPN fantasizes about? Ooh, look at the beard on that beauty. We could kiss and I could floss my teeth at the same time. This weekend was a big weekend for the WNBA. According to ESPN, this was All-Star Weekend in the dump. All-Star? I'm waiting for the WNBA to have a star. How can you have a weekend dedicated to all-stars when every single participant is unknown? My inside sources tell me even producers at ESPN were struggling to identify these dump divers. One of the pretend basketball players was participating in the three-point shooting contest, which In the WNBA, the three-point line is located 3 feet away from the nearest trash can. But one of the pretenders was participating. Producers at ESPN, they couldn't identify her. So, in the graphic, they just guessed and went with Tom, which, like Bob, Tom is one of the more common names in the WNBA. The three-point shooting contest, it was held on Friday. I believe No Star Weekend took place in Las Vegas this year. Now, if you're ESPN and you're dedicated to your relationship with the WNBA, when are you going to broadcast this exciting contest? Every year, TNT airs the three-point shooting contest in the NBA on Saturday night, prime time. ESPN aired the Home Run Derby in Major League Baseball this past Monday night, prime time. ESPN's relationship with Major League Baseball is rather, I guess, contentious. The network doesn't broadcast nearly as many baseball games as they have in the past. Yet, for some reason, they chose to air the Home Run Derby in primetime on Monday night. In terms of public perception, ESPN wants you to believe they value their relationship with the WNBA. With that being the case, ESPN obviously aired the three-point contest on Friday night, right? Exactly. If you're living in London, this exciting event was broadcast in prime time, but if you're living here in America, it aired in the middle of the afternoon. What? How can ESPN treat their bearded brides this way? What the hell's going on here? You're supposed to be proud of your lover. Both ESPN and the WNBA, they love to flaunt their pride. They are dedicated to pride. There's no pride in showcasing this unparalleled talent in the dump on a Friday afternoon in the middle of July. Normal people are at work. Now, of course, normal people, they're not watching the WNBA anyway, so maybe ESPN put the dump divers on at 4 in the afternoon so the unemployed shitfucks could watch them before they passed out from drinking too much Preparation H. Deacons at Woke United Methodist, they are crucifying ESPN this weekend for their lack of awareness. Headline over at Godawful announcing, after Sabrina Ionescu's historical performance, the WNBA has still earned better. Who? Is this the teenage witch that used to fly around during TGIF on Friday nights on ABC? I always find it fascinating how the mainstream media pretends that the WNBA deserves better. Headline at the big lead, WNBA three-point contest deserve better than a Friday afternoon broadcast. How? How did they deserve better? If you ask me, they're lucky to even be on national television. This league can't attract a shitfuck to the pile of golden wieners at the end of the rainbow. The WNBA can't draw an audience during the regular season, so I'm confused as to why the mainstream media thinks they deserve better for a meaningless three-point shooting contest. Now, of course, there's a logical reason as to why ESPN aired the dump festivities in the middle of the afternoon. There was something else going on Friday night that took precedence over the WNBA. What, KC, was it the finals of the professional cornhole tournament? No, but that would take precedence over the dump too. Even though ESPN is supposedly dedicated to trash, they chose to broadcast the NBA Summer League on Friday night instead of airing live footage from the toxic dump in Vegas. This once again proves that ratings still matter. No matter how much ESPN pretends to care about the WNBA, they are going to replace this league every time they are given the chance. The reason ESPN chose NBA Summer League over the WNBA is because Summer League actually draws an audience. They're averaging almost 500,000 viewers for Summer League. The WNBA, they can barely hit that number for the WNBA Finals. All-Star games in sports, they typically sell out. I've never understood why. I find them to be painfully boring, but for some reason, there's enough people interested for these meaningless games to sell out. Even though they set record low ratings on television, Major League Baseball, they sold out the All-Star Game in Seattle. The NBA All-Star Game sold out earlier this year in Salt Lake City. Supposedly, Las Vegas is a big market for the WNBA. They rank third in the league in attendance, which that's not saying much since most dumps average about 6,000 a game. I was reading something this morning, bragging about the Atlanta Dreamers selling out home games. You know, it's easy to sell out when you're playing in a high school gym that holds 3,000 people. But anyway, Las Vegas, supposedly major market for the dump decathlon. With that being the case, The WNBA had to sell out the no-star game, right? Wrong! 75% of the tickets were sold. They're claiming attendance was 9,400, but I saw some of the pictures. Didn't look like 9,400 to me. I know this is difficult to hear for fans of the WNBA and even more difficult for women taking advantage of the woke welfare that the NBA is offering, but even your supporters like ESPN do not care about you. They pretend to care, but every chance they get, they put you on in the middle of the afternoon so they can broadcast wheelchair basketball. All right. Before we wrap up the week, I wanted to take a second to thank all of you guys for your continued support. As you can see, we are finally broadcasting in HD. Well, hopefully, once this is uploaded to YouTube, it'll be in HD. I appreciate you guys sticking with me as I finally got this figured out. I know the background might look a little bit off. I'm still trying to get everything set up the way I want it, but I can't tell you how much I appreciate you dealing with the shitty video quality for so long. All of you are the reason this channel has grown to this point and continues to grow. The week of July 4th was a down week here on YouTube. The impressions were lower than normal. When that happens, all you can do as a content creator is rely on your subscribers to get you through to the next growth spurt. That week alone, a down week, you guys sent over 23,000 likes, 4,000 comments, and shared the video 611 times. That right there is the reason this channel is so successful and continues to grow. Earlier this week, I had an old friend reach out to me. We've been friends for over 20 years, but we don't see each other that often anymore. You guys know how it is as you get older. Life gets busy. You don't have time to hang out with friends as much as you used to. He wants to start his own YouTube channel. He was asking me how to get started, how to grow his audience. While we were talking, he made the comment that you always look like you're having fun on camera. You never seem off. You always give 100%. I told him, you just answered your own question as to how you succeed on this platform. The camera does not lie. People, they can pick up on your mood, your demeanor, everything through the lens of that camera. If you don't have a passion for what you're doing, you're not going to be authentic. And if you're not authentic, then why would anyone waste their valuable time watching you? The way I see it, if you're going to spend your time watching me, the bare minimum, the least I can do is give you 100% every single day. It doesn't seem real that we're approaching 100,000 subscribers. When I first started this channel in August 2019, 1,000 subscribers seemed out of reach. I remember when I quit my job, everyone in my life thought I was crazy. Why would you leave a secure job to chase some unattainable dream on YouTube? But the thing no one could understand at the time, if you never start the chase, the dream will always remain a dream. The only way to make the dream a reality is to start the chase. And for me personally, I just couldn't do that while working 45 hours a week at a job I hated. As it turns out, quitting my job, best decision I ever made. I actually ran into one of my old colleagues a few weeks ago. When he was my age, he had the opportunity to start his own business. He actually had someone willing to give him the funding. All he had to do was do it, take the risk. But there was one thing holding him back: fear. Fear of the unknown, fear of failure. I don't know. What I do know, that fear is the biggest regret in his life, because he would have made it. He's a smart dude. He didn't know this, but he was one of my main inspirations in me quitting my job. I saw him at 50, 55 years old, living with regret, and I didn't want that to be me. I didn't care what I had to do. I just knew I couldn't spend the next 30 years of my life working for someone else at a job I hated. I told my friend the other day, who wants to start his own channel, you have got to make this your number one priority. It's got to be the most important thing in your life. Otherwise, don't waste your time, because you're not going to succeed. You can't approach YouTube like a regular job. This is not something where you can go through the motions and fake it till you make it. Like I said, the camera doesn't lie. You can't hide yourself on camera. Since August of 2019, you, this audience, has been my top priority, outside of my family, of course. And that's going to continue to be the case. I can't tell you how much I appreciate every single one of you for showing up for me every day. I hope you'll continue with me on this journey as we aim to reach 100,000 subscribers. But in the meantime, give me your thoughts on ESPN's pretend dedication to the WNBA, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.